Yes, Ray Lane is also a managing partner at Kleiner Perkins Caulfield and Byers, a legendary VC firm, and he is in fact right here at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Ray, Betty was just making reference to the many connections that the new board members have with HP's new CEO, Leo Apotheker. You're the chairman of the board. How do you guarantee that the board is independent, given the fact that there are these close relationships with the CEO?
Well, it's not about close relationships. It'd be hard for Leo or myself, as long as we've been in the industry, to not have relationships with a lot of people that are in this industry that could help HP. So it's natural that Meg Whitman or Gary Reiner at GE or Pat Russo would have connections to both Leo and myself. But they are not so close that they would corrupt independence at all. And I've been pretty cognizant of that.
How is this newly constituted board going to be different from the old board? What do you want it to do differently? How is it going to represent a break with the past?
Well, I think it's a refreshing of the board. So half of the board is new. If you include Leo and myself, it's about 60% of the board is new. I think that's good for every board to think about as they look to the future. And so you know, old boards are like old CEOs, like old anything. You get stale in your thinking. And so bringing fresh thinking to the board, I think, is a good thing for any company. The old board was a great board. Despite what everybody reads in the press, it was a good board that made good decisions, and the new board is a very, very good board, and I'm proud of both boards.
Okay, the old board, you say it was a good board, but let's take a step back for a moment. Going back more than a decade, from Carly Fiorina to Compaq to spying to Mark Hurd, HP seems to have given investors a never-ending list of reasons to question its governance. Why should they be confident right now that all of that is a thing of the past?
So this board is not the board that had anything to do with pretexting. Okay, so this board was largely recruited in the last 5 years. There's a couple of members of the board that predated that, but this board is what we're calling the old board is about 5 years old, and that board had nothing to do with that past. This board made I think the shareholders of Hewlett-Packard are very, very lucky in that they had a board that went from being recruited and loving its CEO to terminating its CEO in 30 days. And it did it because it had very good reason to do so. And so they can be very proud of it. The new board, I think we've got people that are incremental. So Meg Whitman brings a great consumer experience from eBay. Gary Reiner brings the voice of the customer. He's the iconic CIO in the world. And Pat Russo knows the networking business.
I want to move on past governance for a moment to ask you this question. Michael Dell, a longtime competitor of HP, said today, right here at the World Economic Forum, that HP overpaid for 3PAR, a company it bought just a few months ago, citing the valuation that he got to buy a competitor compelling. What do you say to that?
Well, Michael's a good friend, but didn't Michael pay almost what we paid? I mean, he was willing to pay just under what we paid. It was a bidding war, and so he went all the way up to almost what we paid. So he was willing to pay that price too. So I don't understand the comment.
All right, and another question about valuations before we let you go, Ray. Some of the valuations that some of these private tech companies are getting are just unbelievable, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Groupon, whether it's Twitter. Are they for real, or do you think that there's something akin to the dot-com bubble brewing here?
Well, I think it's easy to think about that it looks like the 90s all over again. We don't know that because we can't forecast the future. But if you look at some of the platforms that are being built, the social graphs are being built by Facebook or by Groupon, you could certainly convince yourself this is just the beginning. To create a social platform like Facebook is ominous. I mean, it will connect the entire world. And Groupon's got an incredibly defensible business because it's very, very local. And so some of these valuations are certainly very frothy, but I think they're here to stay.
Great perspective.
Facebook is not going away.
Facebook is not going away.
Yeah.
Terrific perspective from a man with decades of experience in Silicon Valley. Ray, thank you so much.